Hey, y'all, and welcome back to this special Career Convo series of the Working Mamas podcast. I am Nikki. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to part two. We are going to continue the conversation about career navigation, your three-part career development plan. And in this part two, we're going to talk about the job search and starting the interviewing cycles. Um, Hopefully, you have had time to listen to part one of this series, which was all about self discovery and writing down what you're good at and setting some clear and specific goals about what job you are looking to go after, what industry, what company, what type of responsibilities that you want to have. And we also talked about the importance of feedback, not only writing things down about yourself, what you think you're strong in, what you need to work on, but getting other people's perspectives on those same things, whether it's your immediate manager, maybe a skip level manager, peers that you work with, people who are a part of your professional organizations. And really, it was the level setting conversation so that when you do get to the point where you're ready to start looking for a job and kicking off the interview process, then at least you have a foundation to stand on and you can be strategic in the type of roles that you pursue. And so, as we jump into the job search and not just blind posting to every job that you see on the internet, I want to make sure that part one is done. If you have not done part one, please go back, listen to that conversation. Make sure that you have the workbook, the Career Convos workbook. I will put a link to it in the show notes if you don't have it, but check your inbox or your spam because it should have been emailed to you already. But if you don't have it, no problem. Send me a quick email, hello@winstoncpagroup.com, and my admin will take care of that for you. But talking about the job search, your job search can go any type of way, right? And it really depends on how you start, what your plan is, what your goal is, and really knowing what you're good at and what you want to do. So, being specific as possible if you're searching online for jobs is one way to help do that. A lot of people start by saying, I'm a staff accountant, I want to be a senior accountant, or I'm a senior accountant and I want a manager job. So let me go online and look for accounting manager. And you get these job results with all these accounting manager jobs, but it's not necessarily what you were looking for. And I say that because things change all the time at companies. And a senior accountant at one company can be totally different from a senior accountant at another company. You can be one of many senior accountants and y'all are responsible for certain parts of the P&L. You might have a COGS accountant, you might have an OPEX accountant, you might have a payroll accountant. So you can be responsible for different parts of the P&L. You can be a senior accountant and be the only accountant on the team and you're responsible for everything. So be careful with the job searches by job title because the job title search is very subjective. It depends on what the company has defined as far as the roles and responsibilities. And the pay can also be very, very different. So if you like to do P&L analysis, for example, I actually like doing that. You can search for P&L instead of accountant because not every accountant is going to do that. You can search for something like expense analysis. You can search for uh, different different tasks that you're good at or that you want to do. That would be the easier route to find because you might search for month end close or expense analysis and then a job pops up and it's a financial analyst, or it might be an accounting lead, which is probably the same as a senior accountant, right? But if you do a search for senior accountant, you're not going to find this job called accounting lead if you're not using that exact job title. So try searching for a responsibility, for a financial statement, for like balance sheet if you like account reconciliations. It's something I loved doing when I was a senior. So try that instead of the title, because those titles are very subjective. What else do we want to talk about? I think before I even move on, something that just popped in my mind, taking that approach of trying to search by a responsibility versus a title, it's super helpful in keeping you aligned to what you want to do and keeping you consistent with the self discovery that you completed in part one, to focus your search on a specific job responsibility, a financial statement, etc., instead of a job title. So let's move on to talking about who do you know. And I have been a candidate online looking for jobs. I see some jobs posted and I'm like, oh snap, that is my dream job. I need them to call me. I am actually, I'm still, even to this day, I'm still not 100% sold on applying to jobs on these online job boards. I'm still a believer in that black hole effect, where you post a job and your resume goes into the black hole of the internet, or our resumes, just get lost in the sauce. I have been a hiring manager, put a job post out, and gotten so many responses that it was overwhelming. And there were probably some resume submissions that I missed just because of the sheer volume of applicants. So you might get an automated email response. You might get a call back when you apply online, or you may not, right? Um, or you might get the Dear Nicole email only when they don't want to talk to you. I've seen that. I mean, it's like every time somebody applied for that job I posted, I'm talking about a specific experience because it drove me crazy. And it's one of the reasons why I no longer keep my email inbox open while I'm working. It was a constant distraction because every time somebody applied for the job, I got an email saying that they had applied. And this is like 40, 50 people a day. And it's a lot. And because it was a lot, one thing I would do is I would look at the emails when somebody applies, and I would scan the resume. And if I wasn't impressed after about 5 or 10 seconds, I deleted it. And I did that to a lot of people who were probably well qualified for my job opening, but I just couldn't find the sparkle in the resume, which is unfortunate because sometimes there are talented people who are not graphic designers or don't know how to really put that spark on the resume. And that's when who you know becomes important. That can help you skip this whole resume screening step and get directly to me, to a hiring manager. So when you connect with people on LinkedIn, use them. That's what it's there for. I don't even just accept random invitations on LinkedIn. If we've connected offline at a networking event or something like that, and now we're connected online and we've worked together, okay, that's cool. But if I get a request, there's no profile picture, there's no updates, there's no activity, I'm automatically ignoring it. It could be spam, it could be fishing, or it could be a professional who has not invested time in establishing their online professional profile that would make people want to connect with them. And if you haven't given yourself that much time, it's like, what am I supposed to do for you? Right? I have people who will sometimes preface their invitation with a message. It's a recruiter that wants to connect. They saw something I posted on social media. A professional wants to ask me a question. Excuse me, that came out of nowhere. But I like to have meaningful professional relationships because I know if I can connect people to other people to help them get to where they want to go, I love that. If I can connect with people and we can be mutually beneficial, I certainly will. I know that when I have a question, when I need something, some advice, when I'm trying to get some insights into a company that I'm trying to get a job at, I'm going to ask you if you have a relationship with that organization. And the other thing about LinkedIn is that if you, hold on, let me take some water. It's just water today. No lemon, no ginger, no mint leaves. It's just plain water today. And I have to go cut some lemons ASAP because there is a distinct difference between fresh filtered water and fresh filtered water with lemons and mint leaves. So I got to get some lemons soon as we are done with this conversation. But back to what I was saying. If you apply for a job on LinkedIn and if you're applying to a company on LinkedIn, you'll see a little notification about the people that you are connected to that work there. Utilize that. I have had people reach out to me because they're interested in working at Microsoft. And they'll say, "Hey, how is it working at Microsoft?" Or, "I'm interested in this job. Is there somebody you can connect me with?" Or, "How can I get an opportunity?" So leverage your network and don't be connected to 500 plus people and never talk to those 500 plus people. There is a reason. You have to be intentional about networking and you also have to be strategic about networking. So let's get back to the resume. I talked about the resume a little bit in part one about how important it is to be truthful and honest on your resume and not have a lot of fluff on there to where you've made the resume look pretty, but it doesn't tell anybody anything about your experience. And I will say, as a hiring manager, I have seen some stellar resumes, some very impressive resumes. I have also seen resumes that I have put through the shredder because it was such an eyesore. At this point in your career, at any point in your career, whether you are just out of school, you have 5 years of experience, 8 years, 20, you've worked at 5 different companies in 5 years, whatever your situation is, there is no excuse for a badly formatted resume. You should not have a resume that is 3 pages long if you only have 5 years of work experience. Real talk, real resumes that have come across my desk. Misspellings, grammatical errors. The top part of the resume is one font, the middle is another font, the bottom is a different font. Come on, y'all. There are so many templates, career coaches, so many resources available to you to get your resume together. So, as I say that, I'm thinking about all of the templates in the Career Convos content library. We have resume templates, cover letter templates, thank you letter templates, whether you mail it or send it via email, a resignation template for when you get a new job and you have to put in your 2 week notice, the right way to do that. We have an onboarding checklist as a new hire, some things you should be doing and asking about and learning about your first few days on the job, a negotiation guide, how to negotiate salary and everything else. So, and of course, we have these conversations. We also have executive coaching programs where we talk about all of this in addition to leadership development. So there's not really a reason to have a bad resume floating around. If you're still in school, if you're in college, leverage your career services office. Most colleges and universities have them now. They can help you craft a resume, put together some things, but the resources are there. Use them. Now, back to the network. And using it to your advantage. if you have a resume and you're ready to start applying to new jobs and exploring new opportunities, I would even say reach out to a connection on LinkedIn, a mentor, someone who's skilled in the area that you want to be in, and ask them for some pointers on your resume. Does the content speak to what you can do? If I post a job and I get your resume, is your experience aligned to what I need? How would I look at your resume? Is it exciting enough to make me want to call you as a hiring manager and invite you to an interview? And like I said before, don't do the mass posting to jobs. Like you search for senior accountant, you see 48 senior accountant jobs, you hit select all and you just upload your resume. Just because you see a title that you like or you see one or two bullet points in the job description that you like. You should be very selective in submitting your resume to jobs. Because first, like I said about those 48 job results, if you have submitted your resume to every one of those jobs, that does not look good. There's a distinction between being hungry and being thirsty. So make sure that you don't fall into that trap of desperation where you are so ready to leave your job for whatever reason. The job is boring, you don't like it, you don't get along with the manager, they don't pay enough, the commute is too long, whatever the problem is. Don't fall into that thirst trap of posting to every job and waiting to see who's going to call you back first and offer you an interview and offer you a job. That's not what this is about, because most likely that's the approach you took, and that approach landed you in the current job that you don't like, because there were not enough conversations had. There was not enough transparency presented for you to even make the right decision. You probably went into the interview, asked a couple of questions, standard interview questions here and there, but you didn't really get down to the meat of what am I going to be? What are the expectations for me in this role? Or in the last 5 years, how many people have been in this job? That tells you a lot. Or something about what's something that's keeping your manager up at night. How long is month end close? What are the deliverables? How do P&L conversations go each month when we're doing the analysis and something looks off and we need to accrue or adjust or do something else? What am I going to be doing every day? Which journal entries? Which accounts? Because if you're applying for an AP job and you're going to be pushing invoices across a desk all day, how does that help you grow? What are you going to learn from that? Senior accountant, Oh, we just had our last senior accountant resigned and we need to backfill the job. We're ready to hire right away. Oh, why is that? Did this person leave a stack of work that I now have to inherit? Do I have to walk in the door on day one going 100 miles an hour because there's no onboarding process and y'all are not giving me the time to learn this company and learn my job? I just have to pick up the pieces of what somebody else left behind. Did this person leave their ketchup packets and their duck sauce in the drawer? Did y'all even prepare a space for me to get here? Why do you really want me in this role? Do you want a butt in the seat, or do you want somebody who is going to come in and affect some change? That's why these conversations are important. If you want to be a warm body in a seat, collect a check and go home, you in the wrong conversation. Because these conversations, these working sessions, these career development plans are for people who have the audacity to go after their professional dreams. We have to remember that we own our careers. You can't wait for your boss to say, hey, so what do you want to do next? Hey, I think it's time for you to start looking for another job. Hey, there's a conference coming up and you said you wanted to learn about sales tax and it's a sales tax conference. Do you want to go? It's up to you to be proactive and be in pursuit of the things that fulfill you professionally, the things that will catapult you to where you want to go. Part 3 is coming up next, and we're going to talk about once you get through that interview process and they make you that offer, and that offer is not what you expected, how to reply to that, how to counter without feeling awkward or the company think you being greedy. So that's going to be an interesting conversation, because this is another part, just like the self-discovery, this is a part of the job search, the new job process that a lot of people overlook. I have made offers to people, and I'll say 80 to 90% of the time, they accept the first offer that I give them. Nobody came back and said, oh, thank you for the generous offer of $85,000 a year. I was hoping we could start the conversation at 92. There's not a lot of people who will do that. Even when they think it, even when you make an offer and they like, they offer 85, I wanted 92. They're not going to say it. Sometimes you're just happy to get the job. Getting that offer means that you get to leave the job that you in now that you don't like. Getting that offer means, well, they only paying me 74 at my company, so I'm kind of getting a raise. It's still not the number that I want. And if it's not the number you want, a lot of times we just say okay and we lay down and take it. When if you get a job offer is not what you want and you know that you're worth more, have a conversation. As a hiring manager, I expect you to have that conversation. Because I look at it like, if this person is going to advocate like this, if this person is going to speak up like this, that says a lot about the work, the research, the diligence, the questions, the disrupting the status quo that they will do as a part of my team, which is most likely what the team needs. So not only do you find yourself in a position to get the salary that you want, you can walk in the door on the first day with your manager looking at you a little different. Like, okay, I made the right decision hiring this person, because I'm having to backfill this role. And I know that there are some things that the last person did that I don't want them to do anymore. I don't want this new person to do. There are some things we have to start doing. A lot of times when a person leaves a job, as a hiring manager, that's an opportunity for me to say, okay, what was this person doing? What were they not doing? It's a great time for a start, stop, continue exercise, as opposed to somebody leaving a job and you recycle the job description that you posted when you hired them 3 years ago. You can take that job description, make some edits to it, refresh it, be more specific about the skill set that you need, and then you will start to attract more quality candidates. And that's from a hiring manager's perspective. But even as a candidate, this is why it's important on the flip side for you to do your diligence. And when I said not to blind post to every job, really look at these job descriptions and scrutinize them. And what does it say? Are there 3 or 4 bullet points about what you're going to be doing? Or are there 11 or 12 bullet points about what you're going to be doing? If it's the latter, it's like, oh, they need me to wear a lot of hats in this job. I hope that they're paying accordingly. But let me explore further and see if this is something I even want to pursue, because it sounds like I'm doing multiple people's jobs. Or you can look at that job description that has 3 or 4 bullet points and say, why is it so short? Do they not have enough for me to do in this role? Am I going to be bored? Or is this a recruiting team or a hiring team that just wants a butt in the seat? So they just took the old job description and put it out there and didn't update it. In that case, you should walk into that interview, if you're interested and if they call you, with a lot of questions. Because it sounds like if you see a job description with only a few bullet points, they're either leaving something out, or they were in such a rush to get this job posted that they really didn't sit back and think about, what do we need in this role? So as we have these conversations, I'm having these conversations with you as the candidate from a hiring manager's perspective. But these conversations also need to happen with the hiring manager, with HR, with the department head, to say, what do we need? How can we make sure we recruit a top talented professional who can come in and solve the problems that we have, make this team better and stronger? Not just somebody who can pick up the pieces from what the last person did, because then that, to me as a candidate, would say a lot about the management that I will be working with. So there might be some managing your manager going on. But so much more I can say about that. I tried to keep these episodes to 30 minutes or less. Again, I know we all have a lot going on. So thank you all for tuning in to part 2 of this 3-part career development plan on this special career convo series of the Working Mamas podcast. So make sure you tune in to part 3. We will continue this conversation about wrapping up the interviews, landing the offer, negotiating your paycheck, your benefits, your perks, and a checklist for what you need to be doing your first 30, 60, and 90 days on the job. Y'all be good. If you have any questions, definitely reach out. hello@winstoncpagroup.com. Make sure you put career convos in the subject line, and I will read all of your emails and get back to you. And yeah, great conversation. Continue to use the workbook. Get through those exercises where we're talking about job searching, and there's some tools and some strategies, even some talking points that you can leverage as you get ready for your interviews. There are also multiple pages of interview questions that will help you craft your conversations and ask the awkward questions without it feeling awkward. But it's more so for you to get the insight you need to see if this job is the right one for you. So, again, thank you for listening to this special Career Convo series of the Working Mamas podcast. If you are listening, definitely let your network know that you're listening to this podcast and getting all of this career game. Okay. Feel free to tag me at Nick Winston CPA. Thank y'all as always for rocking with me, and I will talk to y'all soon.